Hello, Chris. Thank you
Nice
for
to meet
having
you.
me here.
Of course.
My name is Alexandra. I'm from Brazil, and I
Awesome.
have two kids. Jade, she's 10, and Rael, she's 7, and they are crazy about the movie.
Oh, good. Awesome. I have two kids as well. A little bit
Yeah.
older, but we're in the
And me
same range.
too. And me too, because I'm very fan of animated movies. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
it's such a strong story. And as adults, we saw stories about rethinking old behaviors, examine who's counting victories, and just making necessary changes. Yeah? But I'd like to know about the responsibility of bringing these narratives about justice, about empathy to children.
I'm glad you went there. Primarily you want to make a movie that is entertaining. You want people to have a good time. You want to create big action adventure, great spectacle and enthralling action scenes and all that. But underneath it, you do want to have some thematic ideas that have resonance. And this movie, I think, is about multiple things. And I think primarily at its core, it's about this idea of this cycle of violence and aggression and the reasons that things that feed into those cycles and how difficult it is to break out of those cycles and how we might best do that. And you do have 3 generations of hunters in this movie. And it's the youngest character is the one that is the most nimble thinker, the one that is able to adapt and change most readily. And so when she gets new information, she's able to see the world differently. And so she's someone who is driven to do the right thing over the course of the story, but her sense of what is right and wrong changes dramatically over the course of the story. And there was certainly things in the movie that, as we were developing the movie, the themes seemed to become more and more resonant given some of the things that are going on in our world today, right? And so I did think that this is a movie that hopefully will appeal to adults and to kids, that there are ideas in here, that there are lessons in here that in some small way can make a difference.
Yeah, it really is. A Brazilian philosopher called Djamila Ribeiro said that empathy is an intellectual and political construction. To understand a reality, you need to study about it, go through it, and then knowledge will free us from ignorance. I'd really like to know if there will be a sequence of this movie, because I want to know how the society will organize it now, without fear.
What you said about what the philosopher said, just to go back to that, I think there's something so right about that, because I think that as we get older, we tend to get a little more fixed in our opinions, and we sometimes can lose empathy for people who have a different point of view or come from a different background, But when you're younger, I think you're a little bit more, it's a little easier to connect with people who have a different sense of things, right? And to change your own sort of sense of things, but that does require empathy, and I think that is the movie does sort of explore this idea of, can you break away from your fixed opinions about things and about others, and can you find empathy? That really does resonate with me, that what you said. As far as you're talking about a sequel to the movie,
yeah.
Well,
not number 2.
Oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted from making number 1. Yeah, I do. I mean, it is a movie where we wanted to create a really big world, really complete and comprehensive world that had a history to it, right? And so I suppose you could say that does allow us to venture off into a number of different directions, with even different characters possibly. I think for a long time I was like, I can't imagine how you could possibly make a sequel to it. But the early reaction to the movie just seems so positive that it's like, maybe we have to go back and see what else is going on in there. I don't know. I'll say maybe.
Okay, we were waiting. Talking about gender, I thought the society that you show us was really egalitarian. The king and the queen having the same authority and women occupying positions of power in different roles. I love that. What do you think about the importance of showing this generation that men and women have more similarities than differences?
Yeah, I think that was something that we talked about right at the very beginning of the journey of making the story.
Oh, nice.
We know that we're going going to approach it this way. And the cool
that's
thing
amazing.
was, I mean, obviously it's a movie that sort of evokes a certain sort of technology of a certain era, right? And so, but it is a fantasy world, right? The crew of the ship was comprised of men and women, but also and different ethnicities, right? Because it was a fantasy world, we were able to do that, and in a sense, actually make the crew resemble our world today, right? And so it actually resonates more with an audience today because we did that, we approached it that way, and it is so exciting to hear people say that they like seeing themselves represented as important characters in the story. You know, that is something that we knew was going to be a part of the story from the beginning.
No, that's nice. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much for the movie and for the attention here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.